What's up, Fort Knox? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Riley Knox here with another video. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, but you're watching this, please subscribe. uh, I promise to have amazing content for you guys all the time. And today I just wanted to do a story time. A lot of you, if you've been following my career, and for those of you who don't know, I'm the #1 Beyonce impersonator in the world. And in 2018, I've been performing for 20 years now, but in 2018, actually on September 8th of 2019, excuse me, 18, I almost ended it all. I broke my back in two places and it was absolutely nuts. So here's the story of how that happened. So I was with my crew. A lot of you guys know that I used to perform with Shaquita Lee and Delilah B. Lee and Capri Bloomingdale, if you live in DC and you're familiar with, and Marcus Smith and Kabuki B. Lee and all the group that I used to perform with. And it was a Saturday afternoon, and we were on tour. We were in our little tour bus, and we were headed to Winchester, Virginia, to do a show there. And it was just, we had a weekend of shows, and like we were normally doing. And we got there, which is about 2 hours away from where I live in DC. And so when we got there, we were sitting in the parking lot, and we were just, goofing around. We pick on each other all the time. It's literally a family, and we joke and we play around. It's all love. And so Delilah and I were playing around with each other, and I never horse around. I never play. I never do things like that. But we were just like talking shit to each other. And all of a sudden she says something, and I pretend to attack her. And so she's pulling on me and I'm pulling on her, and she lets go. Now, you got to understand the way that this tour van or bus or whatever is set up. She was in the front seat and I was behind her, and there is a step that goes down to go outside of the vehicle. And I'm behind her playing with her, like I'm like trying to punch her or pull her hair. I don't really remember exactly what, but we're holding each other's hand. She lets go and I let go at the same time, and I fall back. And mind you, I only fell about 3 feet because I was kind of on my knees, and I fell from about as high as I am on my knees back. And when I fell back, my spine hit the step that goes down. I feel it, and it immediately hurts. And she's like, haha, that's what you get, like, whatever. And I'm like, ah. And I'm thinking, okay, let me just walk this pain off. So I'm like, well, should we go in now? And Shaquita says to me, well, why don't you go check the door? As the door unlocked, she said, well, I don't know, Riley, why don't you go check? So I get out of the van, open the door to get out of the van, and I start to walk towards the door. And I'm like, oh, my hip is killing me. Like, something feels off and weird. Like, why am I, like, every time I would step, it felt strange. But I thought, this is just the pain of that I just hit myself on this step. So I will just, walk it off. It'll be fine. So I determined that the door was unlocked. I walked back to the van. I was like, the door's unlocked. Let's go in, guys. And they all start to, like, bring their things in. And I'm like really feeling pain, and I'm like, I don't think I can lift my suitcase out here. So I said to Delilah, I was like, Delilah, I think something's wrong. Like, I can't carry my bag. Will you carry my bags in there? I'm gonna go lay down on the sofa in the dressing room. So I go and I lay down on the dressing room and go downstairs in the basement, go to the dressing room at the venue that we were performing at, because we've performed there many times, and we always have a great crowd there in Winchester. They're always amazing to us. So I lay on the sofa, and I'm replaying this in my head as I'm telling you guys this. So I lay on the sofa, and I'm like, God, I'm like in so much pain. And then I guess the shock of it all starts to wear off, and I'm like, I can't really move. Like, I'm just laying there in agony. I later find out that some of the workers there, like waiters and stuff, had come down, the people that do hospitality for us, and they had said to someone, like, Riley's laying down in there, and like, she doesn't look good. And they're like, oh, well, she's probably just tired. So everyone comes into the dressing room. Bring my bags downstairs into my dressing room. I'm laying on the sofa in the other dressing room, and Shaquita says to me, she's like, Riley, do you want to go set up your wind machine so that they're right where they're supposed to go, like they're in the right angles and stuff? And I'm thinking to myself, I can't even move. Like, what? So I'm like trying to explain to Delilah, like, oh my God, like I'm in pain. I can't move. And they're like, well, try to sit up. I said, I don't think I can get up. And they're like, well, try. And so they try to get me up, and I'm like crying. I instantly burst into tears. Like, this is the most pain I have ever felt in my entire life. I feel something stabbing me in my back here, and I pull my pants down, and I tell Marcus, I'm like, as they're holding me up to stand up, and I tell Marcus, I'm like, is there a cut in my back right there? And he's just like, no, there's no, you're not bleeding, there's no cut or anything. I'm like, I feel something cutting me, like stabbing me. I'm going to tell you guys what that was later on. So just remember that. So Delilah's like, do you still have in your purse, do you still have the Advil? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, we'll take the Advil. So they give me like a Sprite or something. I take the Advil, and I'm laying there, and Shaquita's just like, do you want me to call the ambulance? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Because I know if they call the ambulance, I am 2 hours away from home. This is not going to be great. Because what if I have to stay in the hospital? Like, I don't know. I know something's not right. And they think that I'm being like overly dramatic, but here come the tears. I mean, when I tell you the tears are coming so much that I'm like, it was bad. Like, I was screaming. It was hurting so bad. I got to the point where once they laid me back down, I could not move anymore. And so unbeknownst to me, Shaquita called the ambulance. She's like, I'm called, like, she calls the ambulance. And I'm like, no, don't call them. A few minutes later, I see all these EMT, like ambulance, all these people are coming down, and there are 8 of them. I'm like, why are there 8 of them? I guess some of them might have been trainees. I don't know what was going on. But I'm down in the basement, so they've got to bring me up the stairs. Like, it's quite a few stairs, probably like 13 or 14 stairs to go up to out of the basement. So they immediately look at me, and they all like kind of gather around me on this sofa, and they're like, Miss Knox, what's going on? Like, how can, like, and I'm just like, I cannot move. Like, and so they put immediately a collar around my neck, and I'm very fearful at first. And I'm like, oh my God, what's about to happen? Somebody called my mother, somebody called my sister. My phone had died, so they had went to charge my phone in, so they would have a little bit of juice, because they need to get the number out of my phone to call because I don't know anybody's number off the top of my head, meaning everybody that was in the crew. Now, the people from the ambulance they're like, we have to put you on this board to take you up to the stairs and then put you on a stretcher, because they can't, bring the stretcher down there. And I'm like, you can't move me. You don't understand. You can't move me. It hurts too much. And they're like, we have to move you. And I'm like, oh my God, what just happened to me? And so they all lift me up. They slide this board underneath me on the sofa. They put me flat on this board with this thing on and I am terrified. I'm like, oh my God, did I just paralyze myself? That's all I could think. I paralyzed myself. This is nuts. I can't move. And so Shaquita starts calling my sister. My sister was at work doing something, a work event. They call my mother. And I'm not sure if my mother answered. I can't really remember. But then they eventually gave me the phone. Yeah, they did, because I had the phone. So they take me up on this board, hand me my phone and my purse, and they slide me onto the actual stretcher. Once I get onto the stretcher, they wheel me out. Oh my God, this is the most embarrassing part of it all. Now remember, I was about to do a show. So they wheeled me out, and there was a line of people that were waiting to get into the show, to get into the venue, Bright Box. And they wheel me out and I could see all these people and I'm like, that was so embarrassing. And the lady says to me, well, we could have put the sheet over your head, but I mean, then they would have just thought you were a dead body. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So she's asking me questions and I'm like, I think I just ended my career. And she's just like, oh no, it's probably just a sprain or it's probably just something like, it's probably not that bad. You'll be fine. Don't worry. I'm like, I think I might have just ended my career. So I call my mother, or my mother calls my phone back. I have it in my hand, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm just like, I don't know. I've slipped and fell. I don't know what's going on. And she's like, "Well, let's just keep me informed, whatever." Well, I get to the emergency room, and I have to pee so bad. But remember, I can't move. I can't move, and I can't walk. So they're like, I'm like, I really have to pee, like I'm holding it, and they're like, well, just wait till the doctor gets in here. Now, mind you, I went there by myself, right? I'm in the ambulance by myself. No one went with me because they had a show to do. Everyone, the show still had to go. Another there are other entertainers on the show. It wasn't just my concert. So they had to do the show, and I guess they said some announcements on. I found out later. Riley had to go to whatever the hospital. She had an accident. Well, the doctor comes in and he says to me, introduces himself, and he says to me, and I'm like in so much pain, and I'm like, but I really have to pee. He was just like, well, he's like, we're gonna do some X-rays, we're gonna figure. I was like, but you don't understand. I got a show to do. He's just like, you're not. He's like, I was like, I can't stay here. He was just like, but you have to. And I'm like, I can't. He said, okay, I tell you what, if you can get up and go to the restroom, if you walk out here to go to the restroom, then we'll just let you go. And I went, okay, I guess I'm staying. So they give me like this pan to pee, while you're in the bed, that bed pan to pee in. That was embarrassing. So then they take me to go get scanned, and the lady wheeling me out. By the way, the stretcher that they had me in, they had to switch me to a different bed. So every time they moved me, it hurt. So the lady that's wheeling me out, I'm going down the hallway and she's wheeling me and she's like, you're really good, by the way. I went, what? Because I'm not thinking about anything. And she's just like, you're really good. I looked you up. And I went, she Googled me. And I'm like, what? She's like, I Googled. I'm like, oh, crap. Now this is like becoming like a thing. Like, oh, man. Because I guess they told her, like, what I was doing. So she Googled me and found out who I was. So these 4 beautiful nurses come into the scanning room, the X-ray, whatever. And they have to put me through this tube. And I said to them, I know you have to move me, but I'm going to scream because it's going to hurt. And so don't be alarmed. They're like, okay. So they lift me up. I scream like, ah, and I go through. And then they put me back on the board, on the stretcher, and they wheel me back in. And by this time, Tanya, one of the friends to the show that works on the show, comes in, and she's sort of like our security. And I'm like, well, at my point, she's being my security blanket. Like she's amazing. She comes in, and I burst into tears when I saw her because had been all alone. And so the doctor comes back in and he's just like, so the good news is you didn't break your hip. I'm like, I'm sorry, were we worried about my hip? Because that wasn't the thing that was my thigh wasn't hurting. Like, what are you talking about? Apparently the femur, that's the biggest bone that you can break in your body, your biggest bone in your body, and it's the hardest to break and the hardest to heal. So they're like, good news is that. And he's like, but the bad news is you broke 2 bones in your back. And I'm like, broke? He's like, yeah. I was like, you don't understand what I do. I can't have a broken. He says, I've seen what you do. And I'm telling you, it's going to heal, but you're going to be out of work for at least a month. And apparently a month is usually a good thing. I didn't know this because apparently people with back injuries, it's like when you break your back or hurt your back, it's like an ongoing thing for the rest of your life. So he's like, you're going to be gone for at least, I was like, I got shows to do. I got things to do. I got all these things on the books. I'm booked. I can't be out. He's like, yeah, and we're going to keep you overnight. I'm like, oh my God. Keep me overnight. So they admit me into a room. They have to move me off of the stretcher again into a bed. And so Tanya, that's there with me, she's on the phone with somebody and they hear me scream. They're like, what's wrong with her now? It's like every time they move her, it hurts so bad. I had to lay completely flat. I couldn't sit up. I'm a clean freak. I'm a neat freak. I'm very big on hygiene. So one of the nurses says to me, she's just like, "I'll give you a sponge bath if you want." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, Jesus." But this is embarrassing in itself. I am like an old person here having to get a sponge bath. They're having to move. She's having to turn me over and move me. It was really bad. And they're like, "We're gonna try to put the back brace on, but probably won't happen today." It didn't happen. We couldn't get it on. It hurt so much. And we couldn't get it on the next day and the next day either. Took a while before we could get it back on. But the nurse said to me, she was like, the same two bones that you broke, the L2 and the L3, the little bone, on your vertebrae, the things that stick out from your spine, I broke those off it's like little thing. They broke completely off, but they were being held on by the muscle. And so what was the stabbing that I was feeling in my back? Remember I told you guys that? The stabbing that I was feeling in my back was the broken bone stabbing into the muscle that was now inflamed and swollen. But he said, we don't have to do surgery or anything. It will heal. The inflammation will go down and then it will mend itself back together. So don't worry about that. And I was like, oh my God. So they're like, you're going to be here for a few days. A nurse came in and she was just like, I broke the same two bones. I was thrown off of a horse 7 years ago and I'm fine. So you're going to be fine. I'm like, oh, this is some reassurance. I was like, so I'll be able to perform again. That's all I could think about. And she's like, I was like, so I'll be able to perform again. She's just like, you'll be fine. And I'm like, oh my God. Thank you. So, around after the show was over, about 10 or 11 o'clock, everybody that we all perform together, they come into the hospital. I don't know how they let all those people up because there were like 6 of us. They come and they they come into the room and their faces said it all. Like they were terrified. Everybody knows that I'm known for dancing. I impersonate Beyonce, for God's sake, and I have, I've invested so much into my body and my career and what I do. And so for me to not be able to move and to have a broken back, you break a part of your spine, that's a big deal. So they all looked at me and it made it even worse for me. And they all just it was really scary. And so they prayed with me and they held my hand and they left and I fell asleep. I had really good pain medication. I ended up calling my dance captain and telling her that I broke my back. I don't remember that. A few people called me in the hospital. I also don't remember that. I had full-on conversations with people. And I'm like, you didn't check on me when I broke my back. They're like, we had a whole conversation. I'm like, we did? I'm like, I was on morphine. It was, and if you've ever had morphine, you've ever been in the hospital and you've ever had morphine, it's like the best shit ever. It's so good. It's just takes you completely, you're like knocked out. But, yeah, so that was crazy. Shaquita Lee, bless her heart, came and took care of me every day at the hospital. She spent the night some days. I was there for a total of 6 days. They ended up moving me to another room. I had a private room both times. Eventually, someone had to come in, a therapist had to come in and help me learn to walk. That was hard because I had to walk with a walker and it was really scary. And I'm trying not to get emotional thinking about this, but it was really scary because I thought I had ruined my career. And to be able to walk, I'm sorry, I'm back. Got a little emotional for a minute. For me, performing is everything. I love what I do. I love it. And being able to walk is a big part of what I do because I have to be able to dance. I have to be able to move around. And they finally got the back brace on me. It took 2 therapists to get the back brace on. They had to kind of roll me and maneuver to put it on. They also had to teach me how to put it on myself. And then once I could walk with the cane, just a few steps. I didn't get much in. Every day I got a little more. The first day I could only do 2 steps. That was hard. And God, this is really hard for me. I didn't think this was going to be this hard. I thought it was going to be a light story. It's just crazy. You guys understand, I love my career. And this was hard. So they moved me to another room. It was pretty bad, and once I was able to walk even just a little bit, Shaquita took me home. We had to go to Walmart first to get me a cane. I had my pain medication, and basically I was instructed to just lay flat, just lay. Once I got home, Shaquita brought me home and cleaned my entire apartment, and it was really nice of her. It was amazing. She cleaned everything, and she made sure that I could move around and nothing was in the way. And for the next month, I could only lay flat. And various friends came and helped me get into the shower, to take a shower. Made sure I was taking my medicine. Sam, thank you for that. This is 2018, so it's almost 2 years ago, and I'm still kind of emotional about it. But all I could think about is I want to go back on stage. I really want to perform again. And he told me a month. I'm hard-headed and I'm determined. I did lay flat. I could only sleep on my sofa. I couldn't sleep in my bed. It was not, I just couldn't do it. I started to be able to move a little more. I, eventually didn't have to use the walker, which made me feel awful anyway. A few friends came by to see me. I didn't really want to see people like that. I'm vain, and I'm also a little proud. So I also don't, I like to be seen in a certain light, obviously. I'm an entertainer, and image is a lot to me, but even with friends, I just wasn't really feeling it. And so literally a month to the day, I broke my back on September the 8th, and on October 6th, I announced or a few days before October 6th, I announced that I was making a comeback. I'm coming back and I'm going to perform. And I made this costume, and I spent time while the back was still broken, but was healing, and made this the most intricate costume of my entire career, which incidentally ended up being the costume that I wore in Taylor Swift's video for You Need to Calm Down. And, but this was going to be the first time I ever wore it. And I made it to the venue, and I think everybody thought I was going to kind of two-step, whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm going to dance full out. Well, guess what? I got up there, and I danced full out. Back was still, it was healing, but technically it was still broken, but it didn't hurt anymore. I could feel it, but it didn't hurt. And some people thought that I overexerted myself, but since then, I've not stopped. Every single thing that I've done since then, from the time I broke my back, got back on the stage after breaking my back, I made sure that I did to the fullest, because I almost ended it. And so I knew what that felt like. So I had to go hard. And that's why all the things that you guys have seen me do since then, whether it was the NBA performing and making history there, whether it was the Taylor Swift video, whether the VMAs, or my concerts that I did, because I hadn't even done my own full concerts by then. This was 2 years ago. I sold out 4 shows, which was crazy. And, all of that was a testament to how hard and determined I was to get back on that stage. And also to you guys who gave me so much love and so much well wishes and prayers. And to this day, people still come up to me and just like, how's your back? And I'm like, I don't have any pain. I've never had, since I went back on stage, I haven't had any pain. And they're like, really? And they're like, back injuries take a long time to heal. And I was just like, yeah, but I don't know. I will tell you this. The doctor in the hospital said to me, she said, once I'd been there for a while, showed me the pictures of the videos and the scans, and I'll insert a video right here. She said to me, because you take care of your body, because you take care of, you work out so much, your muscles, your body, everything looks so good, you're going to heal fine. You're going to be great. Now, I don't know if somewhere down the line when I am in my 60s or 70s or whatever, what's going to happen, but I will tell you now, I never have back pain, not in that area. Knock on wood. I don't have any wood near me, but knock on wood. By the grace of God, he healed me, and yeah, that's the story of how I almost ended my career and broke 2 bones in my back. I have not horseplayed around since then. I didn't do that before that, so it was just kind of weird. People secretly blamed Delilah for breaking my back. It was not her fault. I broke my back playing around, horsing around. That taught me a lesson, but it also made me sit still and really appreciate what I have and really appreciate the fact that I get to perform and get to showcase my talent and never take that for granted. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I hope to have more stories for you coming up soon. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that and click the notification bell so that you are tuned into whenever I have new videos out. Thank you guys for watching. I love you so much. Follow me on Instagram and everywhere. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.